friends. Today we are with author, speaker, and founder of Just Moved Ministry, Susan Miller. So I'm so happy to have her back again. I'm thankful that you're here with us for the conversation. If you're a mom of a teen or you are about to transition with your family to a new location, a big move, maybe you're thinking about it, this will be a great conversation for you to get in on. Hi, Susan. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, Heather, this is such a joy. You know, I always look forward to our being together.
I love it. You have so much wisdom. I only wish that I had met you sooner.
Well, hey, and I learned from you. It's a two-way street for sure.
Oh, you're so kind. You're so kind. So we're going to talk today, Susan. This is a conversation I wish that I had had with you 6 years ago. And we are going to get to the bottom of moving with teenagers.
Yes, let's get to the bottom of it, although sometimes it seems like an endless bottom for moms.
I agree. What is the secret? Please tell me, what is the best way, if you know that you're going to move, what is the best way to prepare your teen in advance?
Well, I think, and this is from personal experience, that the sooner you can tell your children that, the better, because they need time to process. They need time to, my gosh, a teenager is at the stage of life where they are trying to pull away from the family unit, and their friends are there. That's their world. It's just a natural gravitation of growing up. And, you know, parents have the identity is apart from the parents and more with friends. And they need time to process this and talk to their friends about it and begin to wrap their mind around it. And so it's just real important, one, to have a family meeting, sit everybody down, say, hey, this is, you know, what is going to happen. And we are together in this, so we need to move forward and we need to communicate. How do you feel about it? It's important to say that. How do you feel about it? But expect a teenager to get up, huff and puff, walk out of the room. That's all natural, because they feel like, gosh, I'm losing my identity. You know, I'm having to leave my boyfriend, girlfriend behind, all of that. So that's in a nutshell. I think the earlier, the better, because short-term notice just fills their mind with fear, anxiety, worry.
Right. There is only so much, Susan, that you can control as a parent. Obviously there's so much that you can't control. What are some of the things during a move that you can?
Well, you can't control their feelings and emotions, but you can listen. And I think it's so important. And we get busy in the minutia of moving and packing and checklist and all of that. And I have to confess that listening to my children and just helping them understand all the reasons we're moving and all the whys, you know, I just didn't take time to sit across the table and say, hey, let's just talk through this, because realize they may be leaving a sports team or a band or a drama club or a boyfriend, girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is huge in their life, because friend making that's life to a teenager. So I think that just being able to listen and to ask them often, how do you feel about this? How can we help you with this? And they may say, well, just don't move.
Right.
Be ready for that and say, you know, we have to move, or we're moving because of a job or whatever, but be honest with that too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and also I think it's important to help them understand that it's a stressful time for you as a mom and as a parent as well, because I think that it teaches them how to deal with their own emotions in the future. It helps prepare them. So, without sharing too much and causing them anxiety, where do you draw the line with this? What's what's the appropriate amount to share as far as your emotions go, do you think?
Well, I believe in getting in the trenches with my kids. I think that to connect with how they feel about moving, you need to share a move you've had in the past where you were anxious because you didn't know anybody where you were going, or you were afraid, or you were, angry. I being from a military family, it was easy for me to recall, oh my gosh, I was so resentful because we moved so much. And that you're in the trenches with them with feelings. Then they think, oh my gosh, my mom does understand. I think it's important for them to know that you don't have all the solutions. Don't make promises you can't keep. And you don't have all the answers, but you're all in this together as a family or a single mom. You're in this together, and you're going to hold hands and stick together. As corny as that might sound, you're going to hold hands and stick together and get through this. And so be honest with them. I don't have all the answers. I am worried that I don't have friends and know my way around, but we'll learn that. That's
Yes.
important.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love that, Susan. I love that because we're a team. Your
Yes.
family, you are a team. And I don't know about you, but Little Women, I used to read that book to my girls. And I think one of the last lines in the book is, I hope that you will always be as happy as you are today. Do you remember that line?
Oh, I do. I do.
Susan,
Yes.
I would cry every time I would read that line to them and they would both laugh. But it's true. You want your children to be happy. You want them to feel
Yes.
loved and secure and happy. Well, what happens when they're not feeling so secure, Susan? So I've had a situation like this where you start a new school and they're not loving this. They are not loving it. And you want so badly to provide some stability because you're in a new place. And from my own experience, I think it's important to be flexible in situations like this. So we pivoted and we did something else. We went to a new school, but I had a lot of people tell me, no, you need to stay put, give the stability with the school, stick it out. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, um, you cannot take away any pain, or I mean, you can help them through the journey of transition, but you can't take it on as a mom. You can walk with them and hold their hand, but I think so many moms just and it's only natural. The women that I teach, some of their biggest issues are, my kids aren't happy, my
Right.
teenager's not happy. If they're not happy, I'm not happy. I believe that's so true. But by the same token, don't be so hard on yourself,
Mhm.
because you can help them by encouraging them to sign up, join in, to be a part of a church youth group, or to sign up for a sport or a hobby or whatever. You can encourage them. That's so important, to get them involved, to join up and join in. And, say, hey, invite somebody over and we'll have a pizza night. That give them a platform to have kids over. That's important. And getting involved and volunteering. I mean, they could even
Yeah.
volunteer for something. But I think that moms are so hard on themselves because they feel responsible for their children's happiness. And, you can do your part, but you can't make them happy. That has to come from within. Although, as a mom, we try awfully hard to do all be all in
Yes,
a
we do.
transition. So, but I have 5 C's that I would love to share that a teenager faces and deals with when they're in a new school or when they're in a new location, if we've got time.
Oh, we have time. We would love to hear your 5 C's, Susan.
Well, one is that fitting in is key, and being accepted is key for a junior higher, teenager, and even elementary age. Fitting in and being accepted is huge. Will anyone like me? These are their thoughts. Will anyone like me? Will anybody sit with me at lunch? I had a teenager, I interviewed teenagers when I was doing a study on this, and I had a senior say to me, and by the way, that is a very difficult year to move when you're a senior in high school. But she said to me, I walked in the school cafeteria and there were 1,000 kids in there, and I have never felt so alone. And I wanted to turn around and run. So you can see where even the simplest thing, will anybody sit with me at lunch? But the first C is confidence. You, as a mom, help build their confidence. They are who they are, and just to encourage them that they are vital, they're important, they have a lot to offer, and it all begins at home. And one of the things I would always tell my kids is, I believe in you. Yes. You can do this. So, affirm them, encourage them, and that confidence begins at home, because they want to be cool, and sometimes they may be the most confident, outgoing kid that but boy, when they move, that can flatline, because all of a sudden they lose their confidence. So 1 is confidence, 2 is connection, and that is so important to a teenager. That same question, will I belong? And that's where I say, get involved, join up, join in. It's just to make and stress to them to have a friend. You've got to start with making a friend. You've got to, walk that extra mile, ask questions, and again, join up and join in, connect. That's where community is built. The third thing is communication. Will anybody talk to me? Oh my gosh, not only will anybody sit with me at lunch, but will anybody talk to me the whole day? Teenagers can feel invisible. And as women, we know what that's like, to feel invisible, where everybody walks by or talks over you. So it's important to ask questions, and to, again, how does it make you feel? And what can you do to get involved and to connect? So communication is huge. I think these are just things that I would want parents just to key in: confidence, connection, communication. The next thing is comparison. They are going to compare what they wear. They are going to compare their accent. They're going to compare everything. I had a family who moved from Hawaii to Arizona, and the kids wore their bright colored flowered Hawaiian shirts to school the first day. Oh my gosh. That in Arizona, that was kind of like, oh my gosh. They compared because they didn't look like everybody else in what they were wearing. So I think those little things, to realize that, hey, my team's going to compare, and maybe I can help them. They're going to say, will I measure up? Do I measure up? Well, give them that confidence again, that who you are is good enough. And, say, oh my gosh, yeah, we had a great time in Hawaii, and, just roll with it. But comparison is huge. And the last one is, of course, clothes, because that's important to a teenager to fit in. It all goes with confidence, connection, communication, but clothes, as materialistic as that is, yes, I get it. But that helps build their confidence because they observe how others dress. So it's important for you to say, hey, look around at school and kind of see, does everybody wear jeans? Does everybody wear, whatever? And just kind of see how the trend is for where you're living. But the number one thing that kids ask, other than will anyone sit with me, will anyone talk to me, is, will I get through the day without being humiliated?
Oh, that's heartbreaking, isn't
And
it?
these are, listen, these are actual responses from teenagers nationwide.
Wow.
Will I get through the day without being humiliated? So
Mm.
I think if moms are aware of what's going through their minds, and maybe all of these don't apply all at once, but there might be one that as a mom, you just need to be a little more sensitive to.
Those are great tips, Susan. I mean, really great tips. And the clothes, I've never thought about that, the clothing. Wouldn't it be great if you could somehow meet someone, even if you don't know anyone in that area, if you can meet them online and find out, hey, what do the kids wear
Sure.
there? We're moving
Absolutely.
in a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank goodness that we have the privilege of online drawing us closer together. We can investigate where we're going. We can look at pictures. We can, find out so much online about it. And I'm sure even to what do kids wear in high school?
Yes.
Who?
And I want to add one more C to your list, if I
Yes.
may.
Uh-huh.
Is just being consistent with your family routines, I think helps
Yes.
so much,
Yes.
because when everything is chaotic right after a move, and
Uh-huh.
like your book after the boxes are unpacked, I mean, you're unpacking boxes. I mean, it just,
Yes.
things are in such chaos. Like I said, if you have those family routines, and I noticed that when I would clean the kitchen at night, the girls would help me and we would turn on music and all of us would dance around the kitchen. And it was
Yeah.
like just a big stress release for everyone, for the kids, just for everyone. So I think that's important too.
It absolutely is. And I always say, when you move, the first thing you need to do is something that follows tradition in your family. If it's dancing around the kitchen, if it's having chili night or pizza night, what we put up our hammock. We moved 14 times. Every
Oh,
time, the first thing we did was put up our hammock, because that was familiar. That was, hey, this is home. And so routine, traditions, oh, that's so important. And it's important to get their room and all their electronics connected first. Otherwise, they're going to be grumpy. And so,
right.
get your coffee pot out in the kitchen. Okay, that's good. And, have your water available, and then head to the kids' room, any age, and get their rooms unpacked first. You don't need to make up your bed and have a pretty room first, but get all those electronics connected, because that just kind of takes down that stress and pressure a little bit for them.
Yes, I can so see that. I have definitely experienced that. So, what if, Susan? So these are all best case scenarios. We've done all, we're providing the traditions, but what if you have a child who is still, you've been there a year and you have a teenager who is still not adjusting well? What would you say to that parent?
I will say that it takes, and this is a national statistic, but it takes a good 60 days, a good couple of months to actually make a good friend. It takes time, and time is key. Sometimes it takes longer for some kids, even for us, than it does for others. The first year after you move, a woman, a family, anybody, after you move, it takes 1 year for the adjustment and the transition to settle in. Now, of course, you can move somewhere and instantly you're on track. But for the norm, it does take that year, because you compare everything with what you left behind. Well, I had a better football team where we moved from, Mom, than this. Or, hey, this school is, nowhere like where we were academically. I mean, comparison is natural. But if a child is still struggling, and I mean really struggling, and you've done everything possible, don't hesitate to seek school counseling. They have provision there. Most schools have counseling that deal with teenagers and deal with these kinds of issues. So, in other words, there is a line that you can just do so much or take them so far. And if you're still having issues, have a one-on-one time with a teacher or a counselor that might be able to help.
Oh, this is so helpful, Susan. How could our listeners or our viewers get in touch with you? I feel like you're very accessible, and I appreciate that. I know that your readers and the women who are involved in your ministry, Just Move Ministries, really appreciate that fact about you. How can we get in touch with you?
You can reach me at justmovedministry.org. That's our website, and that's where we have resources. That's my blogs, podcasts, everything. My podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, but all my podcasts and blogs, resources, justmove.org. And then if you want to get me personally, reach us at justmove.org. Reach us, one word, and that gets to me. Just say Susan at the top of the email, and I'll get that. Reach us at justmove.org. And I encourage any of our listeners or viewers to go on our Just Move Facebook page. We have a private Just Move community where moms can, and it's private, can go on there and say, what do I do with my 16-year-old? And then you'll get all these, it's a conversation between women that move. So go to justmoved.org. Everything is on there. So, but thank you for asking, because we are an up close and personal ministry. That's important to us.
I have another question too about your program, your ministry program. If you want to start your program in a church, what is the process? Let's say you move somewhere and they don't have this available, or you're interested in starting it.
Gosh, if you've got a passion to reach out to other women who have been uprooted by a move, we have all the resources. Again, justmove.org has a whole drop down on all of our resources on starting a study in your church. We have videos. I do the teaching videos. We have a facilitator's guide, the books, the workbooks. We have I took all the work out of it, girlfriend, where you can just, you can stream my video. I do the teaching, you do the small group and the prayer and sharing and nurture and love the women. And it's just, what a community of new women. They don't feel alone. But I encourage anyone that would love to start a group. All you need is open hands and say, Lord, use me, and go through our program. Our study is through women's ministry or outreach, and go through them. They can go on our website and learn all about that. So we've got it.
From experience, if you pray, Lord, use me, you better get ready.
You better get ready. That's right.
You
And,
better get your lip gloss on
yeah,
because it's coming. Game
totally.
on.
Game on. And if you have a passion and you love to welcome and embrace people, and especially if you're a mover, you know, grab a friend or another woman, make it a team. You're not in leading a study alone. Make
Right.
it I've got 2 or 3 people on my team, and everybody, we all kind of pitch in and make sure we've got coffee and goodies and all that. And it's just the best time. Not only do they get solid teaching, but they build community and connection.
I love everything about your program, everything about it. I just wish you could be in the living room with the women everywhere all the time.
Well,
So,
that's why I have teaching videos,
yeah,
because
so
I can't be
virtually.
everywhere all the time. Exactly. So,
Yes,
but
yes.
yeah, it's just a real joy. I love what I do. Having moved 14 times, I've kind of walked that road, that journey, and Just Moved helps women navigate life after a move and helps guide them to let go and start over and move forward.
And we all need guidance,
We
Susan.
do.
We all need guidance.
We need somebody that's gone before us.
Yes.
And I always say, hey, you're not alone. God will never leave you or forsake you. Don't be discouraged. He's not going to leave you. And I always tell my military spouses, I love my military community. I always say to them, God, when they PCS, which is moving in military, I always say, God is not going to take you to that post or that base gate and leave you and drop you off and say, okay, you're on your own, girl, and you have to go through the gate all by yourself. He is with you. He will never leave you. And guess what? He's not going to leave your kids. Praying for your kids is the best thing you can do for them.
Number one.
Number one.
Number one. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. And be his light, and be his light in the life of your family first. So
yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for your service, and you're just so willing to serve women. And I love you anyway, but I especially love you that you just have this huge heart for all of these women and their families. So thank you.
Well, it's my joy to speak out of what God has called me to do and to speak out of my passion. And I just love that you've had me on, and we have become new friends. I love it.
We have. Thank you, Susan. Promise me you'll come back. I almost said I hope you'll come back, but now it's more of a promise me you'll come back, Susan.
Well, and there's so many areas we can talk about,
from
friendship to marriage, you name it.
Yes,
so
maybe we'll tackle marriage next.
Yeah,
how about that?
Moving affects being up. We live in a mobile society. Face it, Yeah. So be happy to, Heather. Bless you.
Thank you. Have a great day, Susan.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.